Well, good morning everyone, and g'day to everyone who's watching online, including all of our Facebook followers. It's great to be at the Larapinta Woolworths Distribution Centre today with the Chief Health Officer, Dr. John Gerard, and also Maddie Ryan, who's the Woolworths Queensland Supply Manager. Today I can report 10,391 new positive cases of COVID in Queensland in the last reporting period. Very sadly, that includes another 12 people who have died and were tested positive for COVID near or around their death. And so we think of their families. That's a great loss for them. It's a very sad thing. Of those 12 people who died, a third of them were unvaccinated. And we know in Queensland we're almost at 90% double vaccination, so about 10% of the population is unvaccinated, but they make up today a third of all deaths in Queensland in the last reporting period. And I think that's another reminder to every Queenslander. It's never too late to vaccinate, whether it's your first dose, your second dose or your booster shot. It's very important to get vaccinated. Yesterday we were reminded by the Chief Health Officer, Dr. John Gerard, that yesterday was the second anniversary of him seeing the first case of what was then a novel coronavirus in Queensland. It was 2 years ago yesterday he saw that first case. And today is another 2-year anniversary. On the 29th of January 2020, Queensland became the first jurisdiction in the country to declare a public health emergency when it came to what was then only known as a novel coronavirus. And on that day, we declared a public health emergency for Queensland, which allowed the Chief Health Officer to enact public health measures to protect the lives and livelihoods of Queenslanders. And I think on any measure, Queensland has done so well during that period. Those measures that we've enacted to protect the lives and livelihoods of Queenslanders have served our state very well. And we were the first jurisdiction to do that, and we've acted decisively at every step during this pandemic to keep Queensland safe. And of course, we now approach the crest of the Omicron wave. And as we approach the crest of the Omicron wave, I don't think we've ever been in a position to be more optimistic about beating this latest challenge of COVID. And that is the challenge we call Omicron. And there's no better place to recognise that than at this distribution centre. When the pandemic started, not many Queenslanders knew about distribution centres. We went to the shops, we bought what we needed, and then we went home. And then came the great toilet paper rush of 2020. And I think that gave us a renewed understanding of what it was to go from manufacture to supply to distribution to the shop shelf. And we had a new appreciation of that. At some points during the recent Omicron wave, there have been up to 40% of staff here who've been unable to work because they've either tested positive or have been a close contact. Every day, every worker who comes to this distribution facility, along with so many other businesses and facilities across Queensland, every worker who comes here does a rapid test. And they do that to keep their workplace safe, to protect their mates, and also to make sure Queenslanders continue to be fed. And today, that isolation rate for workers here has almost halved. And on some days it's gone to a quarter of that. And so that's a great testament to the workers here who are doing everything they can to keep themselves safe and protect their workplace. And it's a great recognition of the processes and procedures companies like Woolworths and so many others around Queensland have done to keep themselves protected. And I want to recognise those companies and businesses who've done so well to protect their workforce, to ensure Queenslanders like me and everyone else can be fed and get the essential goods and supplies they need. And that means now when we go to the shops, we see the shelves starting to fill up again. Queensland has had one of the best responses to COVID in the world. And we've also had one of the best economic recoveries that any jurisdiction's seen. And we want to keep Queensland in that box seat. when it comes to job creation, when it comes to business investment and attraction, and when it comes to economic growth. And we're going to continue to do everything we can to move out of this next wave of COVID to ensure we have a strong future for our economy and a strong future for our people. Before I hand over to Dr. Gerard, and Maddie just wants to say a few things too, I just wanted to say something I think that unites all Queenslanders today, and that's a few words about Ash Barty. Tonight, Ash Barty becomes the first Australian woman to appear in an Australian women's single final at the Australian Open for 42 years. Now, regardless of what happens tonight, Ash Barty is a genuine Queensland champion. She is a champion on the court, but she's also a champion off the court. She is a humble Queensland champion, and she started her career. She learnt the craft of tennis just a little way away from where we are today. So on behalf of our state, I want to wish Ash all the very best tonight. She's a wonderful person. She's a terrific role model. And can I conclude by saying this, go Ash, Queensland is behind you every step of the way.